What's up, everybody? It's your favorite hood healer. It's your favorite hood high priestess. It's your favorite motivational dominatrix. It's your favorite auntie, captain, goddess, king, LadySpeech in the place to be. And I want to welcome you back to this here channel. You could be anywhere in the world, absolutely positively anywhere in the world. As a matter of fact, you are somewhere in the world, and you're also sharing a little bit of time and space with me. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you for that. If you like what I'm doing, if you like what you see, if you're feeling this and if you're feeling me, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. And make sure you hit that notifications bell so you can keep up with all of these here shenanigans, baby. So you can keep up with all of these here shenanigans, honey. So you can keep up with everything I'm doing on this here channel. Lovely. Now, let's get into today's video, shall we? As you can see from the title of today's video, we're going to get all the way into it, darling. We're going to get all the way into it, baby. This video is for everybody, but I really want those of you who consider yourselves white allies, white accomplices, woke white folks who are working to dismantle white supremacy. I really want y'all to listen all of the way up. And I also want folks who consider themselves, who are not white and who are also not black, but consider themselves allies, for my brown brothers, for my indigenous siblings, for my brown brothers and sisters and all of my indigenous siblings. This is also for you too. So we're gonna do this video vlog style today. I am currently in my pajamas. I have been working all day from my home and did not feel the need to get dressed to get this work done, but now I gotta venture outside this house. So we're gonna put on some clothes, and I'm gonna take you with me along my day, and we are going to get into it. We've got some very important things to unpack, so let's get to unpacking them, shall we? All right, y'all, we are back. I just got done with my reading, and now I am off to run some more errands. A couple of things and a disclaimer or two. Number one, it is raining, all right, and I'm in my car. So if you hear a little bit of thundering and lightning, if you hear a little bit of pitter-patter, that is the sound of the rain against my windows, all right? And number two, I am in my car, and even though it is raining, it is incredibly hot outside, and it is really hot in this car, so I have my air conditioning on. So that might be the air sign, or the whoosh, the whooshing sound you hear in the background. That's gonna be my air conditioning, okay? All right, so now that we taken care of that, let's talk about what has inspired this video. Why am I even making this video today, this very important, as far as I'm concerned, video? Well, let me tell you. If you are on TikTok, you might know about the situation that I am referencing. I'm not going to share the two creators' names because that's not the point. That's not the most important part of this video. If you are part of activist TikTok specifically, if you're part of intersectional TikTok specifically, if you're part of activist Black Lives Matter TikTok specifically, then you might know about the situation that I am talking about. So basically, here it is. There is a prominent gay TikToker who has a huge following. A big part of their following is made up of queer and gay people. They are gay, so that is not surprising. But also a huge part of their following is black people, specifically black women. There is another creator on that app. She is, I believe she is straight. I believe she is straight. Pronouns are she, and I believe his pronouns are he. I believe his pronouns are he. And her pronouns are she. She is of Asian descent. She is Asian, and she speaks a lot about intersectionality. She speaks a lot about white supremacy, about oppression. She speaks a lot in the activist spaces. She speaks out about things regarding Black Lives Matter. She speaks out about Stop Asian Hate. She speaks out about a lot. I believe that she is Ivy League educated. She might be from Harvard. I'm not too sure. Don't quote me on that. but she too has a lot of followers who are diverse. Of course, she has followers who are Asian, but she has a fair amount of followers who are black. Both of these, and black women, both of these creators have spent and dedicated a lot of their creative energy. They have created content around black issues and specifically black women. This is how they were able to attract a lot of black followers, specifically black women, because they spoke to these issues. Initially, they spoke to these issues with respect, and they stayed in their lane regarding their issues. There have been times when they've been called out, but for the most part, they were staying in their lane. Here's where the drama comes in. Both of them, the gay, white, male activists, and the Asian, straight woman, femme activists, have been outed for disrespecting, ignoring, and calling black people names behind the scenes. Both of them are currently being discussed on activist TikTok and black TikTok specifically, and intersectional TikTok. Both of them are being discussed on all of those TikToks for the disrespectful way that they have handled being called out by black women, by black femmes, by black men, and by black gay, pansexual, bisexual, trans, and queer people. Both of them, when called out by black women for the way that they have treated black women, for the way that they disrespected black women, for the way when they misspoke about and around black issues and we tried to correct them, they have been called out for the way that they have been atrocious and horrible towards black people, specifically black femmes, people that they even go as far in their bios to say that they are in solidarity with. Both of these people are problematic. Both of these people are problematic. Both of these people have claimed to be allies to the black community, and when called in and when called out by the black community for the things that they have done, both of their initial reactions were horrible. It was to gaslit black women and femmes. It was to deny what they've done. And then, when all of that has fallen and failed, they block these black women so that they cannot be offered constructive criticism by these black women, so they cannot be held accountable by these black femmes, so they cannot and do not have to answer to these black people. Understandably, now that all of this has come to light, now that text messages are being leaked where people are discovering that these activists have said really foul things behind the scenes around black people, now that it's coming out that their activism was performative, now that it's coming out that their activism was not rooted in liberating and fighting with and for black people, now that it is that their internalized anti-blackness, their internalized misogynoir, and their internalized racism is showing, it's an entire shit show on TikTok. And the people who are most hurt are black people. Dear woke white people, dear activist white people, dear white accomplices and white allies, dear white people who are dedicated to dismantling white supremacy, I want you to listen up and listen good. There are going to be times like this when white allies are going to be outed, when people who have been performing their allyship and their activism for Black and Indigenous people, there's going to be times when these people and their true personalities and their true intentions come to light and they're outed. And when this happens, this is going to be a devastating blow. It's going to be a devastating blow to Black people. It's going to be a devastating blow to Indigenous people. It's going to be a devastating blow to whatever marginalized community that this ally was fake performing for. And we're going to be hurt. We're going to be hurt, and we're going to be traumatized, because that trauma comes from the fact that we have put faith. We believed this person when they said they were working on their things. We believed this person when they said that they were dismantling, they were decolonizing, that they were re-indigenizing, that they were reclaiming themselves. We believed them when they said that they were working on their racism. We believed them when they said that they were working on being anti-racist. We believed them, and then when you go and you get outed for being a horrible person, for lying, for doing the very things you said you weren't going to do, it leaves us with a wound. It leaves us with trauma. It's a reminder of the way of this society treats us, and it reminds us that we are not safe. So you know what we might do? We might pull back. We might not take your phone calls. You might be a white ally, a white friend, a white husband, a white girlfriend, a white best friend, a white whatever. And your Black friends, your Indigenous friends, all of a sudden when we hear about activists, or when personally someone in our lives, when someone we knew has been outed as a racist, we might pull back from you even when you haven't done anything. And we're going to do this because this is a trauma response. We're going to do this because we know that we are unsafe. We're going to do this because we need to insulate ourselves. We're going to do this for our mental health. We're going to do this for our sanity. We're going to do this for our safety. And do you know what your job is? Your job is to be quiet. Your job is to shut up. Your job is to not question us or give us grief when we do that, because we are doing what we need to do for our sanity, for our safety. We are doing what we need to do because someone just like you, someone who said we have your best interest at heart, someone who said we are working for your liberation, someone has said that we believe that your life matters, and we are working to decolonize and make this world a better and equal place for you. We're working for the name of equity. We're working in the name of equality. We're working in the name of justice. Someone who says the same thing you said to us has betrayed us, and now we have to pull up. We have to pull up for our sanity and safety, but we also have to pull back from you in order to assess every single white person in our lives. Are you gonna be racist? How long till you show your true colors? How long till you show us you don't care? How long till you show me that my life doesn't matter? When are you gonna throw me under the bus? Is my life safe with you when we go out? Don't be surprised when we pull up or pull back, when we all of a sudden ghost you, when we stop answering your phone calls, or when we just need a minute, because sometimes that's what it is. We need a minute. We need a minute to process our pain and our trauma around consistently being betrayed. We need a minute to process how it feels to put your trust that someone is healing and doing their work and they're not doing it. We need a minute to process how many times we've been put in danger by white people who said that they were here for us, they were doing what they needed to do for us, and they were lying. We're gonna need a minute or two. And I'm gonna be honest with you. Sometimes your white friend, your Black friend, your Indigenous friend, sometimes they'll come back from that and they'll start talking to you or engaging with you in the next couple weeks, to a couple days, to a couple months, to a couple years. And sometimes we won't come back from that, and we will leave you alone forever. And you know what your job is in that situation to do? It is to keep doing the work. It is to keep working on dismantling white supremacy. It is to keep working on educating yourself and other white people about the history of colonialism. It is to keep doing your work. See, you can't be committed as a white person to being an anti-racist and be soft about this. You can't. If you're doing anti-racism work, if you're an ally to a marginalized community because you want a pat on the head, because you want someone to acknowledge you, because you want someone to see what a good human being you are, because you need your feelings. If you're doing this work, if you're doing anti-racism work, if you're doing work and standing up for the LGBTQIA community, if you're being an ally to a marginalized community and you're only doing it when people are nice to you, you're only doing it when that marginalized community welcomes you in fully with open arms, you're doing it wrong. Let me tell you that to be a true ally, to be a true accomplice, to really work hard for a marginalized community means that you're gonna make mistakes and you're gonna get it wrong a lot of times, and you need to be dedicated to the work past making mistakes. Being an ally to or an accomplice or working on behalf of or standing up or standing in solidarity of a community means that sometimes that community is not gonna like you. That sometimes that community is gonna have a trauma response in regards to you because of something someone else did. And you need to be dedicated to the healing. You need to be dedicated to the process. You need to be dedicated to liberation. You need to be dedicated to equality. You need to be dedicated to justice. You need to be dedicated to it past the pat on the back, past getting accolades, past being told that you're a good boy or you're a good girl or you're a good person and you're doing such good things. You need to be dedicated past all of that. And if you're not, and if you're not, and if you're not, and if you're not, you are doing it wrong, and you're in this for the wrong reason. So you can kindly exit stage left or right and see your way all the way out of our movements, because we do not need people like that or you. Dear non-black, non-white, BIPOC allies and accomplices. Dear brown and indigenous brothers and sisters and siblings. Dear Asian family. This is a friendly reminder from your favorite Auntie Captain Goddess Speech that anti-blackness is global. Anti-femininity is global, which means misogyny specifically against black women, hatred specifically directed towards black women is global. Not only is it global, it is a key component and a cornerstone building stone for neo-colonialism and white supremacy. What does this mean? It means that everybody is anti-black, not just white people. It means that indigenous people have been taught to be anti-black, have been indoctrinated to be anti-black. Brown folks have been taught to be anti-black. Everyone has been taught to hate black women. Everyone has been taught to hate black women, black femmes, and black people. It's global. It's institutional. And we are all taught this. Even black people. Even black people. That's right. Even black people are anti-black. Even black people are anti-black women. Because that is how systematic racism, because that is how systematic misogynoir works. This is how neo-colonialism works, and it's effective. Everybody is anti-black. In this situation that I spoke to earlier, that I referenced earlier, which is the foundational, inspirational moment for this video, the TikTok drama, it was a white man and an Asian woman who are currently not friends and beefing with each other, who made their fortune and fame and have gotten clout from speaking out against black issues, and they both were secretly and not so secretly, publicly and not so publicly, talking shit about black women specifically and black people in general between each other and other people. You must confront your anti-blackness just like white people do. All of us must. Black people have to, you have to, everybody has to. Anti-blackness, once again, is a key component. It's a cornerstone component of white supremacy. It's taught to all of us. And if you do not confront it within yourself, it makes you very dangerous for us. It puts you in a position where you perpetuate white supremacy. I often see on TikTok and in other places, I've seen Asian people, I've seen brown people speak to their frustration around the Black Lives Matter movement. I've seen brown and Asian people and indigenous people speak to the strides that we have made as black people in regards to civil rights, and how I've seen a lot of disparaging comments made around that. I've seen a lot of black and brown and indigenous and Asian people get mad at the black community for not speaking up adequately in their opinion, or for or enough for brown movements or indigenous people. I've seen this happen a lot, and you know what? It's interesting that people would ask us to speak up for you when anti-blackness is a key component to your whole setup. It's interesting, and this is the key. This is because of colonialism. It's so interesting to me that so many of y'all need black people to stand up for you, to use our movements, to use the things that we have gotten from our movements in defense of other people, and get mad when in your opinion, you don't see us standing up hard enough for you or speaking out enough for you. It's interesting. It's interesting because every single movement towards liberation that black people have made for themselves has benefited other people. When it comes to the civil rights movement, all the strides that we made in the name of black people have helped the Asian community, have helped the brown community, have helped the indigenous community. It's truth. Go and look at it. When black people, especially black femmes and women, decide to stand up for ourselves and fight back, a lot of times, 99% of the times, what we create for ourselves has benefits for other people. White women as a whole have benefited from the civil rights movements of black people. A lot of people have. This Asian woman and this white man banded together and behind black people's backs, behind the backs of people who helped to build their platforms, behind the backs of people they claim to defend, behind the backs of people they claim to be in solidarity with, they exchanged text messages where they were disparaging to us, they called us names, and they were disrespectful. Finding this out hurt so many people, specifically black women and femmes. It hurt us. It put us in a trauma response. It put us in a space where we wanted to back up and be reclusive for a second. It put us in a space where we then began to look at other white gays in our lives, white people in our lives, white straight people in our lives, white allies in our lives, Asian people in our lives, other brown people in our lives. It put us on the defensive, and it made us step back. It made us pull back. It made us have to question personal people in our lives. Every single time a white person or an indigenous person or a brown person gets outed for their anti-blackness, there is a trauma that black people go through. There is a trauma that black people go through. And sometimes we end up having a trauma response. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about one of these trauma responses you can expect from black people if you are a black or brown or white ally. And let's talk about a trauma response you can expect from black and indigenous people if you are a white ally or accomplice. Every once in a while and every now and again, you might notice your black friend pulling away from you. Every once in a while and every now and again, you might take note of the fact that you haven't heard from your African friend, or your African American friend, or your Blasian friend, or your Afro-Portuguese friends. Every once in a while, and every now and again, you might notice that your black friends have put some distance between you and your white self, or your brown self, or your indigenous self. This will happen oftentimes as a trauma response. This will happen oftentimes when we have personally encountered a racist, or when one of our friends or someone we have formerly put trust in as a brown person or indigenous person or another BIPOC person or as a white person. We put trust in them to protect us. We thought we had common ground with this person. We thought that they valued our lives. We thought that they cared about who we were. There will be times when a big and prominent activist gets outed for their racism and they don't respond properly, or they don't respond adequately, and your black or brown or indigenous friends will take offense at this, or we will be hurt by this. And sometimes what our trauma response will be is to distance ourselves from our white friends, family, and allies who are in our life. Sometimes, oftentimes, damn near every day, there is a white activist, there is a brown activist, there is an indigenous activist who gets outed for their anti-blackness, who gets outed for their absolute, positively vile hatred of black women and the things they've said about us. Sometimes we will get that news. Sometimes we will read a report about how another black person was ruthlessly gunned down or their life unnecessarily taken. Sometimes we will be researching our history and encounter a historical fact about us that is so horrendous and atrocious that we can't do anything but turn into ourselves and weep and grieve and cry. And do you know what your job is as a white ally? Do you know what your job is as a brown or indigenous ally? Your job is to hold space for us. In the name of your indoctrinated anti-blackness, your job is to shut up, be quiet, and not question us when we are stepping away from you, when we distance ourselves away from you in the name of our safety. Here is the thing. Every time a brown, a black, an indigenous, every time a white person gets outed for their misogynoir, for their anti-blackness, we have to go into our circle. We have to look at every single white friend or accomplice or co-worker or white person we work in close proximity with. We have to look at every single brown person that we are in close in proximity with, that we are family with. We have to look at everybody in our world and question whether or not they're going to serve us anti-blackness, whether or not their anti-blackness and misogynoir is going to cost us our lives. So we might ghost you because we have to do this. We might step away from you because we have to do this. We might distance ourselves from you or not talk to you so often because we have to do this. Muhammad Ali did an interview years ago. And in the interview, he likened this situation to a bag of snakes. Say you have a bag of snakes. and you have 10,000 snakes in this bag. 8,000, only 8,000 of these snakes are non-poisonous. They're not venomous. They can't bite you and kill you. But 2,000 of these snakes, 2,000 of these snakes that are in a bag of snakes that are 10,000 snakes in total, 2,000 of these snakes are venomous. 2,000 of these snakes are poisonous. 2,000 of these snakes in this bag of 10,000 snakes are poisonous and can kill you on contact. And if I put that bag down and release it and let all of these snakes go, even though the people who I would release these snakes on, even though they would understand that only 8,000 of these snakes are non-poisonous and only 2,000 of these snakes are venomous and poisonous, they would be smart to run away from all of these snakes in order to protect themselves, in order to guarantee they weren't bit, in order to guarantee their safety. They're gonna run away from all of these snakes, and they're not gonna take a chance. Black, white, yellow, brown, or in between, today is always a good day to confront, dissect, and dismantle your internalized and indoctrinated anti-blackness and white supremacy. Today is a good day to acknowledge that you have been trained to be anti-black due to capitalism and neo-colonialism. Today is a good day to be a better ally to marginalized communities and to the black community by acknowledging where you are and have been problematic and working your ass off to heal it. I'm watching so many people on TikTok. So many people on TikTok express their grief because they put trust in these two allies, this white gay man and this Asian woman. I'm watching so many black women read these text messages where they both talk shit about communities they claim to defend. So much betrayal. And you know what this makes us want to do? It makes us want to close ranks. It makes us look at everybody outside of ourselves suspiciously. It makes us not want to trust any of you. It makes us not believe any of you. There are a lot of you who have good intentions and have a good heart, and you mean well, and you're doing your work, and you're learning, and you're correcting yourself. Unfortunately, people like these two, like BP and her, and that's how I'm going to refer to them. I'm not going to give you their full names. But this is how we look at those two people. This type of behavior makes us not want to stand in solidarity with other people outside of our communities. This type of behavior reinforces this notion that white supremacy perpetuates, that you are disconnected from us and you don't have the ability to see our humanity. Dear white people, dear non-black, non-white people, BIPOC people, people of color, dear folks who consider themselves to be allies to the LGBTQI community, to the black community, to the brown community, to the Asian community, to any marginalized community, know this: you will always have something to learn. And if you choose to do the human thing and stand up for people, then you also need to stand in your humanity when those people call you out. When those people call you out for your bullshit. because you will be called out at some point for your bullshit. That's part of being human. You will make mistakes. You will get it wrong. You will say the wrong thing. You will be on the wrong side. You won't be right all of the time. And if you are dedicated to justice, if you are dedicated to liberation, if you are dedicated to equality, if you are dedicated to equity, then you will stand in this and make it right. You'll answer to your mistakes. When called out and called in, you will say yes. You will raise your hand and say, yes, that was me. And I offer you no excuses. I offer you apology and amends. How can I make this better? Stop. Stop trying to get clout from our issues. Stop making money from regurgitating things that Black women and Black femmes have been saying for centuries. Stop using us to gain more followers so that you can gain more sponsorships. Stop using real life issues that we are living and dying for to gain followers, to gain clout, to gain relevance. Both of these people in this situation that inspired this video were wrong. And so many of you act like these two people. If your activism is performative, we don't want it and we don't need it. If your activism is for clout, we don't want it and we don't mean it. If you're speaking up for Black people and Black women, but you secretly hate us, but you secretly dislike us, but you are not doing your decolonization work behind closed doors, we don't want you. We don't require any of your help. We don't need you for our liberation. Leave us and our movements all of the way alone. In summary, or I should say in conclusion, dear woke white people, dear white people who are dismantling white supremacy, dear white allies and accomplices, dear brown and indigenous allies and accomplices, dear woke brown and indigenous people, two things. Number one, when Black and brown indigenous people ghost you, be you, our friends, our family, our lovers, our significant others, when we ghost you or stop talking to you or don't want to deal with you after a prominent or personal white person in our life who has professed to be an ally, who we name to be an accomplice, has been proven to be a nefarious individual, and we step all the way away from all the white people in our lives, don't take it personally. We're doing it for our sanity. Dear Black, excuse me, not Black, but dear indigenous and brown people, When we hear news as black people of some brown person being anti-black, of some indigenous person putting us in danger, of some other BIPOC person choosing to stand in solidarity with the oppressor against us, do not be surprised when we step away from you. Do not be surprised when we distance ourselves from you. Do not be surprised when we have nothing to do with you. And do not be surprised when we are not interested in using our movements for your highest good. Give us space to grieve. Give us space to be. Give us space to recover. Give us space. All right, y'all, that's it for today's video. If you made it to the end of this video, gold star for you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate you, and you are the real MVP. Today's video was heavy, and it was a lot. So if you were able to make it in to the end, if you took it all in one chunk, if you took it in little pieces, if you took it in middle-sized pieces, it doesn't matter. If you made it to the end of this, thank you for listening, for giving me your time and your attention, and for uplifting this very important and near and dear to me message. I appreciate you. If you like what I'm doing, if you like what you see, if you're feeling this and if you're feeling me, make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. And make sure you hit that notifications bell so you can keep up with all of these here shenanigans. Just in case nobody has told you today, you're beautiful, flaws and all. You are divinely made. When Creator, when Goddess made you, they broke the mold because you're priceless and you could never be duplicated. Thank you for surviving everything that has come to end you. And for some of you, that includes you. Thank you for continuing to be here. And on that note, you have a good day, a good morning, a good evening, a good afternoon, a good middle of the night, a good midday, a good whenever you are watching this video. And I'll see you in the next one.